Hey friends, welcome to today's Beans World show on the 14th of June 2025. And I've just had a beer and thought, this is going to be a difficult episode to do because there wasn't the episode I was going to originally do. Hasn't emerged, so I thought I'd just pick up the mic and show up and actually talk about what my plans are. But before I do that, I want to give a big shout out to the guys, the Beans World family. You know you are. And I'm gonna give. People were saying to me earlier on today, "Where's my shout out? Where's my shout out?" So here it is. Here's all the shout outs, and if I've missed anybody out, leave it in the comments. So we got Auntie Mandy, we've got Joyce, Paula, Steve, the other Steve, Amy, and that's it. It's everyone. And then there is the guys on Bigo, which is Princess, Rose, and Hugo. And just to say, my next Bigo stream will not be until next Wednesday. Because we're doing something special on that for next Wednesday. So yeah, you'll have seen most of the stuff we've done today. Because I was in a car driving simulator, which and a motorbike simulator. But I went to a place called Gravity Max in Liverpool, and I went there to do a car driving video, which is what I went to do. But I'm going to talk about that more next week because, so... Oh yeah, and before I carry on, subscribe to the channel, like and share, though it won't, it'll obviously, it won't cost you anything. I don't make any money of it, but it'll help the algorithm and I'll know what to make more videos of. By the way, just a little secret that I want to tell you guys is my plans are not to make money from this channel. But this channel will be part of what we do. I know everybody in the Beans World family is giving me content. Hello, Pud. Hello. Are you coming on the podcast? Hey? Are you coming on the podcast? in there. Oh, good. So yeah, because I know a lot of people in the Beantold family have content for the channel, which will happen. But my plans are as follows. The podcast will come out every week, and then there won't be much content that... Oh, we've got a ghost. I didn't touch that door then, and it just opened by itself. So we've got plenty of stuff coming to this channel. We've got loads of stuff that we've got ghost walks. We've got cat this evening, tell you. You coming in or out? Yeah, we've got ghost walks planned. We've got loads and loads of stuff planned. That's stuff that wasn't originally planned, and there is something else that I'm going to tell you. The house which my folks have put onto the market, I want to say this right, for the podcast. There is a ghost story linked to this house, which I'm going to tell on the channel, not in this podcast. I'm going to say that for next week's podcast, because it's a true story. But I'm going to tell the real ghost story, and then I'm going to tell some of the ghost stories that I found that were linked to it. One of them's about a little boy who drowned in a swimming pool. The other one is about, well, it's linked. In fact, this is why I want to do a urban exploration at the Botanic Gardens Museum, because there's something linked to Captain Skaysbrick. But again, it's a bit of a fake story, but it's not. Because there's an alleged... because there's a lady who... I think she died and she wasn't buried properly or something. And she was after Captain Skaysbrick's land. And anyway, I'm leaving that one for next week's podcast too, because it's a good story. And she's the lady that haunts Meals Hall, if you go there. And she actually throws stuff at people. That does happen. But yeah, so we're going to do all these kind of stories. But I'm thinking, wouldn't it be great if someone was like, you know, when you go to buy a house and you're thinking, are there any ghost stories linked with it? Well, there is. And I'm saving it for next week's podcast, because next week's podcast is special anyway, because yeah, I'm doing some other bits and pieces. But these podcasts, I was talking with someone today, because he was suggesting like a show, like a live stand-up comedy open mic, and I was thinking, yeah, and I was thinking, we could turn this podcast into a live gig. Obviously, you got to do a bit more at a live gig, but it's like, wow, it's whatever people find entertaining, and when you go to a live show, or when you go out to watch anything, it's like people that do the chicken jockey experience, as it's now called, when you go watch the Minecraft movie and people throw popcorn, but it's part of the experience, I think if you go to a cinema, you're sort of sucked in to the movie, but there's no actual experience. And I think to have as long as it's not hurting anybody, I think the whole, and I think we should have interaction with the crowd. It's important. It's a bit like when someone sticks a comment on or sticks a like on, it becomes part of the action, I guess. And I think the thing that I think people want is entertainment. There isn't a lot of that these days because of the amount of high prices you pay to go and watch, say, entertainment. Or a lot of entertainment is masked to keep said person happy, shall we say. But it'd be more or less like the things that people love about me is, political incorrectness, which if you're doing comedy, there has to be something that's for me, there has to be something that's off the cuff, that's rough around the edges. Now, because all comedy, even the most innocent comedy, is offensive. And it doesn't mean to be, because it's poking fun. You take Last of the Summer Wine, for example. That's poking fun at, say, the ageist. You wouldn't be able to do that now. It's very innocent, but I love it when they bring modern stuff in there, like, in the last series, they were doing jokes about iPods, and it was like, wow. Yeah, an iPod to an old person back then was like a MP3 player. I think there was a few a couple of drug jokes in there. One about Nora Batty's fruitcake, if I remember rightly. And there was a subliminal, stuff that... The thing with comedy is it has to be... You don't have to say F or S or be racist or whatever, but you have to... I mean, even if it is slightly... the thing is, British comedy, classic British comedy, has, you watch it or you listen to it for a reason. Now, I personally like the Bradshaws because it was my mum's and dad's generation. It's Audrey's like your stay-at-home wife. So she's keeping the house in order and everything. But she doesn't understand the outside world much. She does understand the outside world, but not as much. Alf is your working man. He works hard. And when he comes home, he's got Audrey and Billy. And Billy is your typical whinging 8-year-old. And Billy makes a few cock-ups. And the sketches are done so cleverly. But it's not just the swear words, it's the, so there was only bloody in there, but that's showing frustration, Alf's frustration. And that was a time when parents didn't have a lot of money, but the money was coming in, and people worked hard back then, in the 50s and 60s, or the 40s, the 50s and 60s, whenever the Bradshaws is set. I'd say it was set late 50s, early 60s. So times were hard. People didn't have fridges and freezers. They had to make do, and things were quite basic. But people would get offended easily with the Bradshaws because there's a lot of humour in there that people would just not get. The Bradshaws is a little bit rude, but there's a threshold. And that's the thing, and even people who do swear in comedy, they swear at the right moment. I've said this a lot of times about YouTubers. They swear at the right moment. Billy Connolly, in an interview, I can't remember which interview it was, he said that he had to script his swear words. There was a fine art of that. So if you're going to drop an F-bomb, it has to be here. And it has to be, and you can do that. But it has to be, and you have to look at your audience, And here's the thing: who do you want to come to your show? and you still have to have your threshold there. And the audience has to understand that threshold. I mean, if I do a live show, there won't be any swearing at all.
Very good.
Because we got Mother on the podcast here. Just so we can get more audience in. I think. But YouTube is different to radio and telly, as you all know. And to YouTube, the F and S words are more blunt than other S words that I'm not going to say. Because we all know that word, and it seems to be banned. But I think, like, how can I put it? There's a lot of people out there who are becoming, there's a lot of problem with mental health. And you can't even talk about that. You can't even talk about mental health with talking about that. If you see what I'm saying. But that's just an example. I mean, but you know, I mean, we kind of but keeping on the topic, because I think people are kind of interested. You know, if you're playing like I'll just put it into two contexts here, or three contexts. There's always a three. A three is a good number, I think, when you. So the first context is. Okay, so you're having a bad day and you're documenting that on YouTube. And I think people should take Ashens, he swears in the right places. And sometimes he sneaks it in. But for good reason, because there was one video he had there was two issues. One of them was he had this really bad food product. It was slightly off. And if you've got something in your mouth and it's slightly off, and it's a consumer studies lesson, and you're not going to say, "Ooh, that tastes off," because how many times, if you're going to put some real context, crumbs, they are flaming awful, And that's the thing. But it was educational because it's like, what are we really buying? But yeah, the second context is, say you are video gaming and you come across a real frustration where your game shuts down mid-level. That really gets on people's tits. And then the third issue is when you talk about politics. And in my mind, you can't talk about politics without swearing, especially when you mention Rachel Reeves or Jeremy. Yeah, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about here, people. You know, and when you talk about the benefits and the benefit system, you can't talk about that in a clean manner. When we were on the radio, when I did McGill Radio, I said to James, we keep our politics with our coats. I wouldn't even talk politics in the studio with the faders down and just the music playing. It had to be kept outside the studio. Football, I wouldn't mind. Religion, I wouldn't mind. But politics would be, you know, and, you know, and I think here, you know, I know we're not sort of, you do have to keep to the rules of Ofcom no matter what you do, but with the online world, you haven't really got Ofcom breathing down your neck. Well, it all depends, but you should use a couple of things. And if you're talking about politics and religion, you're going into a grey area anyway. Just saying, you know. And if you don't know, it's good to ask. Like I'm putting my Sega Law videos on hold at the minute because of all of the politics that's happening there. I still haven't finished watching the Slopes video yet, but once there's been a lot of stuff going on, which I want to stay clear of, by the way, but it kind of, because I wanted to talk about what's happening with Sega now, and I don't think I will be able to because, yeah, that puts me in a bit of a ummy-and-ahhry issue. But yeah, I mean, I'm quite angry with what the actual Sega are doing. But then there's stuff happening with Sega consoles that we didn't mention. the Super, if you know what I'm talking about, the Super Sega, which it sounds like a really great console, but it's one of them. What time are we on, by the way? I think we can go to 11:30. As long as I keep to that. So back to me doing YouTube as a career, because I don't think, as I've said, and the problem is,
I'm going to bed.
right, Mummy,
Going to bed.
no,
I know, Daddy.
I'm going to be till 11:30, because I want to get this podcast finished. So yeah, I think money-wise, I think what I'm going to do is I'm not going to sell any merch, because I don't think people want to buy my merch. I'm going to go in the conservatory just because it's quite an echoey room. Made a bit of a mistake here. I'll keep the light on. Yeah. Into a real podcasting studio where we can actually, if we close that door, we can talk a little bit more. We can actually talk at an actual podcasting voice now. Yeah, I think yeah, I just don't think that, YouTube, making money from it, it'll be very difficult. And technically, I have other projects that are actually making me real money. I was discussing that today. And oh dear. Okay, we've got a pud who is stuck in here. Go on then. So yeah. Now, what time are we on? Oh, we got till 11:30. That's a long time. Oops. I think as well that I am, and I have said I'm going to start scripting these, and I haven't done, but I will start scripting them, because I think these podcasts are saving the channel. And they've been my saving grace to this channel. And the Tales from the Vaults will soon be a book. And we've started using Tumblr as a platform for the imaginary friends. Still use the Facebook page because it's got 37 fans, and you don't want to piss on your audience unless you're someone who pisses on their audience. But you don't want to piss on your audience too much if you want to keep your fans. And technically, that is what, you know. And the imaginary friends have their world, which is around, you know, it's the Facebook page, which I use AI images, but the story is me writing it. And the same goes for the Tumblr. But I still try and use real pictures where I can. You know, I've done a few community posts here and there on this channel explaining that, and you know, and I carry on doing real pictures as well. It's not all AI pictures, but I think it kind of just shows. And it's strange because when I was sat with the people that love this channel, it got me thinking, those people that, you know, subscribe, there's, you know, very few people in the Beanswell family, but you're the ones that enjoy this content, and it's the other ones that are getting me more content, and it's like, wow, you know, and that's what kind of builds this channel. There's not a huge number of people. That's on top of the 220 subscribers that we have here. If we get 300 subs at the end of this year, which we probably might or might not, then we'll take this channel to new heights. But anyway, so I want to just do the last few minutes of this channel talking about autism. And I mainly talk about autism on the other channel a bit more. But a lot of people have asked me questions. And I kind of want to clear people's minds up with this one, because autism is, to an outsider, it's about trying to understand the world that they're in. And if you are already on the spectrum, you'll know exactly what our world feels like, you know? But it's like, it's difficult to explain something to somebody who doesn't have that thing. But we're all different. Okay, we speak the same language when it comes to certain things, when it comes to creativity, innovation, when it comes to communication. We have our own ways of communicating. When it comes to our ways of understanding, but you can't explain to an outsider everything. So what the outsiders need to do is to stop trying to make things difficult for them. The door is open, you silly pud. And the thing is, with autism, you have to understand what the person's wants and needs are. But also, it's good to not focus too much on a disability and focus more on an ability. If you can imagine, right, if imagine you've got a building and you've got physical barriers, right, and or a road, so you're going along a road and all of a sudden you've got a barrier each way. You can't go this way, you can't go that way, because there's always a barrier and it's stuck. And that's basically how that's how society is now. You put barriers up so you can either stop someone coming in and out, or you put barriers up to protect, but who the hell are you protecting? You're not understanding. They don't understand you, you don't understand them. That's a barrier. That's more like a wall you've put between you and them. And the way you break down that wall is you try and put whatever it is in the background and put the things. Here's the thing. You break down all the options and narrow it down. And if everything's narrowed down, and if people understand, that experience will be great on both ends. Because no matter where you go, that person will understand you. And we're too focused on trying to understand someone through what problems do they have right now. I've understand their problems, because they've got a solution for everything. But sometimes you'll bump into something else and you won't understand it. So it's like, oh, we don't understand that. And it's like, oh, hold on a second. I know somebody who was friends with me at Youth Club, and so she understands. Well, I thought she understood me for quite a long time, and obviously because we haven't met for a long time, she saw me in town, and for some reason I was trying to shake her off because I didn't want to follow me. Unless I thought, well, if she's trying to help me, then yeah. And then there was this car coming. So, because I didn't know how to communicate, I shrugged my shoulder and pointed towards the way I was going. I've told this story a lot, and because I was meeting my friend Will, and because I was getting there in a rush, I was in a rush to get there, but it was strange, because she knew not only did she know I was going, and I was like, and then I did stop and I waved to her to see if she was going to follow me. Because I just kept going, I'm going that way. I did say, you know, I didn't say where I was going because I didn't know if she was going to follow me or not because she was on a bike. Now the problem I have with people on bikes helping me is they're not the experience I've had with people with bikes is not always great. It's not like you can hold on to something properly with a bike, and I treat a bike a bit like a wheelchair. I'd rather not touch the bike. Do you see what I'm saying here? I'd rather not. Because also that can throw a person's balance if you're not careful. So I didn't really want to make it difficult for her either. So, but then she wanted to help me. So I thought, okay, because there's a lot going on. It was a busy path. There was chairs and tables all over the show, like Hugo Lounge Cafe. They have chairs and tables all over the show. And they have signs all over the show, and it's a bloody nightmare. There's where you swear. Right on cue. Anyway, it was a bloody nightmare. So picture this. Picture this. I'll do it in 5 minutes. Honest. It was, there was tables and chairs all over the show. And there, this person was on a bike, she got me round. And then I walked off, and a car came. Bear in mind, there was not very much path, and she was worried about me getting run over, as you would. So she said, don't go, and I'm like, I'm not going. But I didn't want her to follow me, but I knew she was going to help, so I just stood and I signalled to her again, moving my shoulder up and down. It's not great, that, is it? But in my head I thought, does she know that I'm not communicating? Does she know I'm throwing my shoulder up and down? Because I was saying, look, I need you to just guide me through this. Tell me when to go. She was worried about me gonna go, but I wasn't gonna go until I was listening for her to tell me, and then I just pointed towards the walks. I don't know why she was worried about where I was going. I guess because there was a lot going on the path. I don't know. But it's like today, someone in the station. This is weird. Because I was in the station and I didn't know what the hell to do. And I got to the barrier, right? And someone I said, oh, well, come straight through. But anyway, assistance, trains, and today was a good day, but, But sometimes I can't always communicate to people what I want. And there used to be a lady in a bar who she didn't like, people, when when you're giving money, and so she didn't like a hand being touched. So I thought, okay, so what I used to do was, when I had a note, I used to hold it long so she could grab the end of the note. Bloody hell, let's go in a bit. But and so this one night, I'm in there, and I've got the note there for her to take the note from me, and then this one night, she came and gave it the change, And because I'd washed my hands in the boys' toilets, the soap in there was like sticky, so I was rinsing my hand, making sure that my hand wasn't too sticky. And I had to explain, look, my hand's a bit, sticky here because of the soap. She was all right with it, but I think again, if you explain to people that, again, you know that they're going to be fine with it. And people are too scared now of things like germs, and there's all strange things knocking around. But there's all kinds of things in the air. You'll need to walk outside and breathe in the air. You don't know what you're breathing in. If you could see with a microscope what you're breathing in, you'd never walk outside. You never would. And I've said that for a long time. And with those thoughts, I'm going to love you and leave you, because I want to get this podcast out today. And if you could just help me out by subscribing, liking, commenting, you're great people. And I'll see you guys next week.